Shalom Aleichem, friends of the Sephardic congregation of Hellendale. This week's parasha is actually a double parasha, the parashiot of Vayakhei-Pekudei. The Torah says as follows: Sheishet Yamim Te'aseh Melacha. It's the second verse of the first parasha, Parashat Vayakhei. Sheishet Yamim, for 6 days, Te'aseh Melacha. Melacha shall be done. Uvayom HaShevi'i, and on the 7th day, Yeh Lachem Kodesh, will be a holy day for you. Shabbat Shabbaton Lashem, it will surely be a rest day to God. Kol ha'oseh bo melacha yumat, whoever does melacha on that day, yumat, shall be put to death. A careful reading of this verse will reveal something strange. The verse says, Sheishet Yamim, for 6 days, Te'aseh Melacha, which in Hebrew means, Sheishet Yamim, for 6 days, Te'aseh Melacha. Work, it's the work can be done or will be done. Te'aseh implies, the word Te'aseh implies that the work is sort of done on its own. Sheishet Yamim, for 6 days, Te'aseh Melacha. Work will be done. And this is a strange way of the Torah expressing itself. The Torah Hashem should have written in the Torah, Sheishet Yamim, for 6 days, Ta'aseh Melacha. For 6 days, you shall do Melacha. You shall perform Melacha. You shall perform work. Or you will perform work. Uvayom HaShevi'i, and on the 7th day, will be a Shabbat, a rest day unto Hashem. Why does the Torah say, for 6 days work shall be done, will be done? Te'aseh is almost the passive. Work will be done on its own. The Torah should have written, Sheishet Yamim, for 6 days, Ta'aseh Melacha. You shall do Melacha. And then on the 7th day, you shall not do Melacha. You shall not do work which is prohibited to do on Shabbat. And I'd like to answer this question with an incident that is recorded. And the incident is a very interesting incident. There was a great Rosh Yeshiva, and he became the Rosh Yeshiva of the great Volozhin Yeshiva, and his name was Rav Naftali Tzvi Yehuda Berlin, known as the Netziv of Volozhin. The Netziv was a very great man, a very great Rosh Yeshiva. And one day it's told that the Netziv went to visit a student who had left the yeshiva. And he went to the student's town and he said to the student, tell me, how are you doing today? How are you doing right now? How's everything going with you? What's happening with you? And the student started listing off. He said, Rebbe, things are fantastic. My business has flourished. I've opened a new shop. Finance is excellent. Things are going well. Baruch Hashem, I have a wonderful family, and business is all going good. So the Rebbe said to him, I understand. Tell me, what's going on with you? And he repeated, business is good, I'm making a good living, etc. He continued and continued. The Netziv said, you don't understand. I'm not asking you what Hashem has done for you. I'm asking you what you've done. What have you done for God? Not what God's done for you. In other words, the Netziv was communicating to him that his success in business was not merely based on his own efforts, his own brilliance. That's not considered his activity. He put in the effort and God blessed him. But it's not considered his work. His work, the Netziv was communicating to him, was the spiritual work that he does in developing his own personality in the service of God. And perhaps with this story one can explain what it says over here. The Torah says, I want you to know that keeping Shabbat is not easy. It means for the 6th day, for the 7th day, on that day, you cannot work. A person may feel, how am I going to make a living? The Torah is saying, you need to know that you don't make a living. Hashem makes you a living. You put in your effort which you're obligated to do. And Hashem is responsible for the results. You're responsible for the effort, and Hashem is responsible for the results. For 6 days work shall be done. The results will be whatever Hashem does. And if a person knows that, then one is able to go into Shabbat with peace of mind, knowing that one's parnassah, that one's livelihood comes from Hashem, is determined by God. And therefore, the results of one's actions is purely dependent on the blessing of God. And therefore, Shabbat, the observance of Shabbat, will in no way detract from one's livelihood. This is the message. But there's a tremendous psychological spin-off and advantage from this attitude. The attitude really is that we are not responsible and in fact do not control the results of our actions. We are responsible for doing our effort, for putting in our effort, for using our best judgment in any circumstance. Results are not up to us. Who determines results? God determines results. Outcomes are God's domain, not our domain. Our domain is merely effort. And therefore, psychologically, we have to know, if we put in effort in a particular area, and we put in our best effort and it's not successful, we should not feel like failures. It should not detract from our self-esteem. We have to know that the results of the fruit of our efforts is God. Yes, if we're lazy and we neglect our responsibilities, then it's our doing. But when we put in our best effort, the results are purely up to God, and therefore a person can psychologically completely relax and know it is Hashem's will. Whatever Hashem determines will be. There's a beautiful explanation in this regard of the Maharal. The Maharal quotes a pasuk that says, Betach el Hashem. It doesn't say Betach Bashem, trust in God. It says trust towards God. Says the Maharal, whenever a person does anything in their life, whatever it may be, a person should put in the effort and have a silent prayer projected towards God. God, please make my handiwork successful. Please make my activity successful. The results are not up to us. The results are up to God. And I leave you with this thought. I was reading recently the biography of a friend of mine by the name of Danny Abraham. And Danny Abraham writes over there that one of his principles in life is that there is no such thing as a mistake. Many people, they do things, use their best judgment, it doesn't turn out, and they beat themselves up about it. We do not have to beat ourselves up about it because the results are up to Hashem. The point that he says is that there's no mistake. If you used your best judgment at the time, there's no such thing as a mistake. That's the way God determined that the outcome will be. There's no such thing as a mistake. There's no need to beat ourselves up. If we do something, it doesn't work out, that was the will of Hashem, we try something else. Shabbat Shalom.